Hi, my name is Ann Schaffner. I'm an environmental scientist with the Department of Pesticide Regulation. For 18 years, DPR has recognized innovative organizations for reducing pesticide use through its IPM Innovator Awards. Award recipients are role models for voluntarily adopting effective, reduced-risk pest management practices and for their willingness to share those practices with others. IPM, Integrated Pest Management, uses physical and biological techniques based on pest life cycles to make it difficult for those pests to survive. Let's take a look at Marin County's Integrated Pest Management Program.
Since 1983, we've had a IPM program, and in 1997 we had a policy and ordinance put in place, and we've reduced our pesticide use by over 80%. We've really achieved that through reduction of herbicides. And we do a lot more hand weeding, and we do the sheet mulching to keep the weeds under control. And then areas that we formerly would have sprayed, we mulch and we mow. We don't use any rodenticides anymore. There are occasional rodents in our environment, and we try to keep that population low, so we monitor them, and then any rodents that we have, we trap. It does take a lot more physical work to maintain them without pesticides, but we feel that it's worth it.
We're here in Marin County at the Frank Lloyd Wright Civic Center. It's one of the pieces of works of art that Frank Lloyd Wright left us that's still an active functioning government building. We went from having a community that didn't trust the county, that we were not really pushing and doing the right thing in this area, to now feeling like they're being heard, they're seeing progress, they're seeing our county being awarded for the good work that we're doing here.
On the outside of the Civic Center, we deal with pests like ants and spiders, field roaches, but we deal primarily with rodents. They nest obviously in the open landscape, and we try to monitor them and control them outside before they make their way inside the building. And if we had an increase in ant population, it'd be real easy to put some bait stations out here and control them through the use of bait versus spray insecticides.
We have about a quarter acre of atrium, and we have two major pests that live on the plants in the atrium. One is greenhouse whitefly, and we use a monitoring device that is a sticky trap, and it traps the adults so we know what the population is doing, whether it's increasing or decreasing. And we release predatory insects to help control the population of the whitefly. Hal Brown Park at Creekside, where we are now, has a beautiful marsh in it, and the park was designed specifically to have low runoff and no pesticide use so that the water quality is kept at its highest. We get so many people coming to use our park, and it's a lot of mothers with young children, and they fill up the park, especially in the afternoons and weekends. We have 3 schools within walking distance of the park.
She picks up everything and explores everything with her hands and with her mouth right now, so it's good to know that there's not a lot of chemicals here. My favorite thing, I guess, is just the structure and the fact that it's in such a beautiful area. It's like there's water, there's trails, there's lots of structures for the kids to play on.
We have about, altogether, about 500 acres of walnuts that are in some form of production. Some are little baby trees, and others are as much as 105 years old. We also process about 3,000 acres of walnuts every year. Cover crops perform multiple functions. They're not just one thing that they do. They perform the function of bringing in beneficial insects. They fix atmospheric nitrogen and put it into the soil to fertilize our trees. Thick cover crop like this, because it is a legume, or because they all are legumes, can actually fix a lot of atmospheric nitrogen and put it into the soil and make it available to our trees. Because we don't use organophosphates, that encourages raptors to have nests in our orchards and have babies and continue the control of our rodent population by just sheer populations of raptors. So we're inside one of our freezers, which is how we control the insects after the walnuts are harvested. This is what they look like after they're harvested, and this is the final product before they are actually shelled.
IPM is something we've been practicing for over 20 years. It really goes back to the traditions and the founders of our company who really believed in sustainability and sustainable wine growing and winemaking. And IPM is a core pillar of that foundation. It really supports everything that we do. In wine grapes, birds are quite a pest. They can really reduce your crop level and really cause some quality issues. We came up with an in-vineyard solution where we use falcons to scare the birds out of the vineyard. So it was kind of challenging to get that all going, but once we got it going, we found out that we save money and we're making higher quality wines, which is what it's all about in IPM and sustainability. Mites are always a problem. That's where we release predaceous mites. We're very careful about materials we use for mites. Biggest pest, it's more of a disease, is powdery mildew. And powdery mildew gets into clusters and can really impact the quality of a wine. So all those things are very, very critical to IPM management to integrate your whole pest and disease control program. We grow a cover crop here, and we plant it, or we try to plant with natural grasses, and it grows up through the winter, and then we'll cut it down in the springtime, and we're returning organic matter back into the soil. If we have to spray a material here, we're doing more rows at a time, so we're eliminating tractor passes through the vineyards, we're saving on fuel, we're saving on carbon emissions. Those are all good things. As we educate our workers in IPM and IPM practices, because actually those are the folks that are doing the work, and they're helping us make the quality wines that we make here. We've found that using measures like IPM, we're actually getting better quality wine. So better quality wine is what we really want to do. So it's better for our ground, it's better for the vines, it's allowing us to make great wines, and we're going to be able to do it for more generations.
When I started working here in 2003, our owner asked me if it was possible for us to make more of an organic push to our farming practices. And so we started doing different things to make that happen. When I first started working here at Spring Mountain Vineyard, we had Pierce's disease pretty much everywhere on the property, and today we can't find it anymore. We attribute that to the bluebirds consuming the sharpshooters, and we have not used an insecticide on the sharpshooters in also more than 3 years. The mealybugs are now controlled with Anagyrus, which is a parasitic wasp, which parasitizes the adult female vine mealybugs, and Cryptolaemus, which its common name is vine mealybug destroyer, and it in its larval stage actually consumes the adult females.
Well, the quality of the grapes is always the most important factor in making wine. And the less you have to do in a negative aspect as far as sprays and controlling pests in the vineyard, the healthier and the more holistic the grapes are that come in. And the better those grapes are, the better the wine I can make. We're on, a lot of our vineyards are on 30-degree plus slope. And we get upwards of 70 inches of rain a year. So actually just trying to keep the vineyards where we plant them is a challenge.
This is one of 135 different vineyard blocks at Spring Mountain Vineyard. This is Cabernet Franc growing right here. The vines were planted in the late 90s. Cover crop that you see next to me is strawberry clover, and we use it for attracting beneficial insects and also for erosion control on our steep hillsides. Anytime we can minimize the use of sprays, it increases the safety for our workers. So they really appreciate that. Our customers appreciate the fact that we are good stewards of our land. We work hard to make a living land here for our owner, our employees, and the produce that comes off of it, the grapes, the net result of the work that we're doing with biocontrol and with integrated pest management results in a product that we feel is superior.
Integrated pest management uses biological and physical techniques based on pest life cycles to make it difficult for pests to survive. For 18 years, DPR has honored IPM Innovators and supports their continued efforts to redefine pest management in California.
nicely. Springtime. Vines are loving life right now.